Hello, 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 all you people out there on internet land. It's here, it's us again. We're here again. It's Fats and Angry. He's fat and I'm angry. How's you doing, Fats?
Mostly fat.
Oh, you just finished going through some ice cream.
Yeah.
What kind was it?
Um, Peanut butter chocolate chip cookie dough.
Not bad. I have to say, I've never really strayed far from the rainbow because I'm too indecisive. It's like, what flavor do you want? All of them. Fuck it, give me the rainbow. It's got all the main flavors. What if it's just psychosomatic? There is no flavoring in there. It's just food coloring and nothing.
It's really good food coloring.
Food coloring tastes the best.
Well, I've made some food coloring.
It is currently the last day in the month of May. It is May 31st, 2018, when we're recording this. And before we get started, one thing I did want to say. When we first started doing this, our introduction video, we talked about some of our inspirations as to why we were doing this. And one of the people that I mentioned was a YouTuber, game critic by the name of the Cynical Brit Total Biscuit. Unfortunately, as many of you will have heard well before you ever hear this, considering that I still haven't figured out the video editing software to actually post any of this shit online yet, that he unfortunately passed away at the young age of 33 from stage 4 bowel cancer. As people say, cancer is a bitch, and fuck cancer. And of course, it always feels like it hits a little bit closer to home when it's, like someone famous. Of course, it's a lot closer to home when it's a member of your family. Like I've had members of my family either die or manage to get by cancer. And I'm pretty sure you have too in the past, Fats. But just wanted to let everyone know out there that, we're a whole lot, at least me personally, I'm definitely going to miss listening to Total Biscuit talk about his FOV sliders and his 60 frames per second and his PC Master Race nonsense. But he was a good YouTuber and he will be missed. So now that that's out of the way,
I like bacon.
as indeed everyone should. Today we're going to talk about a nostalgic topic. Yes, we're going to talk about places that are not around anymore. This was something that Fats brought up, and to be perfectly honest, I love the idea of that because, man, there's a lot of fucking places that I miss.
Yeah. Now, some of these places we might talk about, they're just no longer available in the shit stain that is Corpus Christi. But
yeah, you might still be privy to them, but we do not.
Yeah, fuck all you people who got a Shoney's.
All you Rick and Morty fans out there that actually have a Shoney's, consider yourself blessed, you cocksuckers.
Yeah, we have to settle for Denny's.
Denny's, the Shoney's that is not Shoney's.
Yeah. Denny's.
Now, you have memories of there being a Shoney's here, right?
Yes.
All right, why don't you tell, because I have no recollection of Shoney's whatsoever. You're a little bit older than I am, not by much, but still a little bit. So why don't you tell us a bit about Shoney's for all of us who have not been graced by their goodness?
Well, it was the first place I knew of that had French toast sticks, and they had some really good ones. That's usually what I would get was the French toast sticks, but yeah, the atmosphere was a lot like actually eating at a Denny's or what have you, but I think their food was better.
What kind of food did they serve? Was it kind of like the same thing, like essentially the equivalent of a Grand Slam or something like that?
Yeah, usually we'd only go there for breakfast, and they basically, your typical restaurant kind of breakfast food, but I just think it was better. I don't know what a modern Shoney's tastes like, but I miss the one we had.
Do you remember where it was?
I could point it out if we were driving out of town, but
Yeah, I forget. You're not good on like directions, like street names and whatnot.
yeah.
I remember there being an.
It's some sort of like Waffle House now. I've never been there, but it's not a brand name I've heard of, so I guess it's like privately owned.
Oh, it's not like an IHOP or anything like that.
No.
Yeah, when IHOP moved in, I thought it was going to be like this big fucking like super chain, and I'm like, wow, it's like Denny's except you get less food and it's more expensive too. Why the fuck do people like this? And if you're saying that Shoney's is better than Denny's, then that means Shoney's is fucking worlds better than IHOP.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd rather eat a Shoney's than an IHOP too. I actually haven't eaten an IHOP in years because I don't like them.
Oh, this is something we got to mention. I don't know if we've mentioned this on our other video about food, but this is something that you and me were talking about just recently about how a lot of restaurants don't seem to understand the concept of golden brown hash browns or the brown in the hash browns.
Yeah. Almost every restaurant I go to when I order hash browns, I have to tell them to burn them just so they'll finish cooking the damn things.
It's like, I don't remember if you were there or not, but I remember like a couple of times that me and my mutual friend, like I said, you might have been there. I don't remember. I just remember him.
Oh yeah, no, there was one time he told him he wanted them browned all the way, and I told them that I want mine crispy. I don't care if the edges are burnt. Just finish cooking them through, and then he just kind of nodded at me and said, "Nicely done."
But like, no, it's like we would say like we want them brown, as in not white, as in cooked, as in brown. And what we got back was these like raw potato
Slivers.
like, yeah, it's like raw potato scrapings. It's like, okay, let me explain to you the difference between cooked and this. This doesn't look like it is seen like warm, much less been near it.
Yeah.
This looks like you seriously took a spud out of. It's not even room temperature. It's fucking cold, and you just like looked at it, thought you had heat vision, and then brought it out here. It's wet. It's limp, it's cold. You obviously don't get the brown in the hash browns part, so let me explain to you how this works. You cook it. You know what cooking is, right? Now, I don't like being an asshole to people at restaurants because I've worked at restaurants before, and I've had people be assholes to me for either things that were well out of my fucking control or something that I had nothing to do with. So I know what it's like, but if you're a server and the guy tells you he wants his hash browns cooked and he doesn't matter if they're burned, it means you go back to the kitchen, you go up to the cook, and you hit him. You physically strike him, and you tell him that the beatings will continue until the cooking improves.
Yeah, actually the last time I went to IHOP was because of that. I get my food, it's not properly cooked. I can tell them, hey, the eggs are still kind of soggy, the hash browns aren't brown, and the ham, it looks like it's barely touched the grill. And I knew the way my plate looked before I sent it off. And like 15 minutes later, I get my food back. It's in the exact same state. They basically just stuck it under a heating lamp and made me wait.
He's like, you know what? Fuck it. Just give me like a chunk of iron. I have a lighter in my pocket. I will do this shit myself.
Yeah, I told the waitress I'll go ahead and eat it, but I'm not paying for it. And that was the last time I went to an IHOP.
Yeah, so in case it isn't clear to you listeners, fuck IHOP.
If you're paying, I'll go, but I ain't using my own money anymore.
Moving on. So let's see. Oh, you mentioned someplace. It's my turn now. Let's see. What do I miss? Oh, here's something. Here's something else we brought up. Like this is actually what got you to suggest this topic. Bennigan's.
Yeah.
Now, Bennigan's is a restaurant I'd heard about. I'd heard about it from our mutual friend who it was up north when he was a kid, and he liked going up there. And then we finally got one here in Corpus. And after a while, because at the time I was a poor bastard, I'm just a slightly less poor bastard now. But at the time I was a poor bastard, so he's like, "Come on, let's go to Bennigan's." I'm like, I can't fucking afford to eat there. He's like, "Don't worry, I'll treat you." I was like, "Oh, then I'll fucking go with bells on, man." When someone else is picking the tabs, I'll go wherever the fuck you want. I'll go to IHOP. So we go there, and keep in mind, I've never been there. I have no idea what the food's going to be. And we get there, and everything on the menu looks like a deep fried dream. Like they got like these giant Oreo shakes where it looks like they didn't even attempt to like break down the cookies. It's like, we got ice cream, we got like whipped cream, we got Oreos, we mixed them all together, and then we thought, fuck it, there's not enough Oreos. Put more Oreos in that fucker. Still not enough. What the fuck are you trying to do here? We said Oreos. Get more fucking Oreos. So they put more Oreos. So it was like, but I ended up getting this thing, which was like this giant deep fried like roast beef sandwich, which is like covered in like some sort of like sugary syrup, and then they put powdered sugar on top of the thing, and it was awesome. It was fucking awesome. I couldn't eat the whole thing there, so I had to take some home with me, and it was fucking great. And the next week they closed it down. Fuck. I got so fucking mad.
I went to Bennigan's. Well, I never actually like went into the restaurant. I always just had people bring the food to me, but it was about 3 times, and each time I always ended up getting the Super Bird, which was a deep fried turkey sandwich that they covered in powdered sugar and served with like some sort of dipping jelly.
It's almost as if that place was made on a fucking dare. It's like, it's like, what, you don't think we can deep fry shit? I will fucking show you we can deep fry shit. I got a fryer later over here. We will deep fry the fuck out of every single thing you bring us. Bring us the Oreo shake. We'll deep fry that shit too.
Somebody must have heard my idea for the gribble.
But like,
we will fucking deep fry. Do not test us. We will install a car wash full of fat oil and deep fry your fucking car.
And you will sit there and you will eat it. Like that fucking Ren and Stimpy short where they deep fry Cadillac and homeboy eats it until his heart stops.
We'll pour powdered sugar on it until it's delicious. And you will eat it.
You ain't leaving this fucker until you eat this. We're going to sit here and watch you.
Here's your jug of raspberry sauce. Eat the tires like fucking donuts.
Oh, that's beautiful. And so I got so mad, I'm like, what the fuck? I thought this place was popular. What the shit happened? And like literally, it was like within a week, because like I was thinking to myself, I can't wait to go there again. And then it was fucking gone. And then, like, people are telling me...
Like an angel's kiss.
You open your eyes, and it never fucking happened. You ask people around, they think you're making it up. You have to question your sanity.
They don't deep fry and powdered sugar roast beef. What's wrong with you? They did!
I swear to fucking Christ, they did. And then, like, people tell me, like, oh, they didn't just close it here in Corpus. They closed it everywhere. It's like, so what? To keep me from going out of town and finding it? It's like, I'm like, I love this. And then it's like some fucking, like, like government goon over here is like, he likes it. Close it down. It's like, what if we close somewhere else? Close it down. Close it all down. All of them. Every last goddamn one.
He will not have a treat on vacation. He's going to have to settle for IHOP.
Hash browns. You get nothing but hash browns. We fucking cooled down these fuckers before you got to it. Iceman's back there. He's back there working with Mr. Freeze and Captain Cold.
They're going to get you the best hash browns ever.
These hash browns are so white, they're whiter than Homeboy from Powder.
They reflect heat.
It doesn't toast. What doesn't toast? It's like John Panay, God, I miss him, but him talking about the that bread that they made, gluten-free bread. It's like it doesn't toast. It's like the shit they make the tiles out of for like the space shuttles.
30 years, they're gonna dig up my corpse and find the disc. See that? He was on the gluten-free.
John Panay, we miss you, man. We miss your comedy.
Need you back, man. Come back to life.
We have food. We have bacon. That should be enough to make him crawl out of the fucking ground.
We have properly cooked hash browns.
All right, that was one for me. Your turn. What's not around anymore that you remember?
I really miss KB Toys.
We're going from the food topic. All right.
I think there's a few that exist outside of Corpus. I'm not positive on that. But what I really loved about them was they were kind of like a time capsule. They would have all kinds of shit in the back that eventually they would bring out. So, like, you could go there looking for action figures and find shit that was around when you were a kid that is actually highly rare and collectible now. But they don't know what the fuck it is. They're just trying to get rid of it, and they're selling it at discount prices.
Oh yeah, but but once the collector's market came around, they had to get rid of all the KBs, didn't they? Yeah, we had one in each of our malls. We have 2 malls here. Well, we kind of only have the one now. We have like a fucking soulless husk that roams the earth.
Yeah. I wonder how much longer that one's going to be around.
Oh, it's going to keep being around. The problem is that, and this is going a little bit off topic, but you know what the fuck you're listening to. You know this happens.
Oh shit, they're doing it again.
But like the thing is that the one mall we have that's functioning is is not that big of a mall compared to any other mall I've ever fucking seen in my life. I've seen malls in shithole towns that are bigger than ours.
I've actually seen smaller ones, but I'll talk about that in a little bit.
But yeah, it's like it's not huge, but it's a mall. It functions as a mall. It does what it does as a mall. But the thing is, back in the day, it was a lot smaller, and it was right next to the other mall. Literally, they're right next to each other. There's a mall, there's a street, there's a little shopping center, and then there's the other mall. They did not think this through. They did not think, maybe we should build this other mall somewhere else so we don't, compete with each other so drastically. No, fuck that. Put it right next door. Because reasons.
Yeah.
And so they did. And so as one mall got bigger, the other one got weaker. And rather than going between the 2 malls, like, okay, we went to this mall last week, we're going to go to the other mall the other week, people just kept going to one mall, and it thrived, and the other one went down the shitter. You go to the other mall, and well, actually it is kind of going in the same topic, like shit that's not there anymore. You go there now, and it's like the Lost and the Damned. It is like literally a zombie building. You go through there, and it looks like there's going to be zombies crawling out of the fucking empty, fucking stalls.
Or half the stores, they're just empty with the iron curtain down.
Not even half, like 80% of the stores. There's very few places left. And the places that are left are fucking depressing.
Yeah, the Dollar Cinema's still open, right? That's one of the few things still functioning.
Yeah, because I think it's because, they get people in there with the fact that the movies are just $1. Like, they catch movies that are either just coming out on DVD or right before they hit DVD. So they sell the tickets for, literally $1 plus tax. And I think where they get you is on, the concessions.
Yeah.
Which is, most movie theaters make their money on the concessions.
Yeah. And also, the food court's right outside of that. So the food court, they still do pretty well for themselves for people getting out of the movie theater wanting food.
I don't even think there's any of those places left in the food court. They're all closed. Oh, except for maybe one place, which is on the opposite side of the food court. The food court used to be full of shit. Like there was an Orange Julius, there was a Chick-fil-A, there was a bunch of these other places. Now I think they have one small snack bar, which is closed most of the time. And there's another small snack shop that's on the lower level too, because this one sits on the upper level. It's a 2-story mall. And it's sad because my grandmother used to take us over there a lot.
Yeah, they no longer run the escalators there. They're just uneven stairs now.
It's like you walk through, like literally, it's just depressing. It is depressing as fuck. You just see like, I remember when that used to be a store. And I remember when that used to be a store. Oh God, why am I here?
There's actually quite a few stores I used to go to in that mall.
There was a Spencer's, there was a Rich's, there was a place called Rock and Roll Express, where it was essentially the same thing as like Richie's and Spencer's. I can kind of see why they all went out of business because they all essentially sold the same thing.
Yeah. Well, there was also a lot of game shops in that mall that me and my friends used to go to. Back when I played the White Wolf games, that's where I got.
I remember there was one, and almost literally the second I found out about it, they shut it down. I remember, like, I finally heard about it. I finally found it because it was the part of the mall that my parents never liked going to. So as a kid, I never passed it by. And so I never saw it. When I was finally able to go there under my own volition, I wasn't a little kid anymore. They had closed, like, you know, for that day because, like, they were only open, like, 2 days out of the week because the mall was already starting to fail.
Yeah.
And the next time I went there, it was fucking gone. I'm like, awesome! Just like Bennigan's. Of course, this was years before Bennigan's. But, like, yeah.
But you still said it, and it was weird.
No, that's like a running theme in my life. Everything, like every time I find something, it's either something they just built that I'm now too old to go to, or it's something that was there that I was too young to go to, and now that I'm old enough to go to it, it's fucking gone. Like, there used to be a lot of these, like, places. There were, like, activity centers. There were these little places, like, where they were just filled with, like, indoor play areas and arcade games on free play and, like, board games. Like, literally, it was, like, think of, like, the play area at a McDonald's or a Chuck E. Cheese or something, but just, this is all that thing is. And like, literally everything there is on free play. They have arcade games there. They don't cost quarters because, essentially, you pay to get in. And then you run around there for like a set amount of time. And the longer you're there, the more you have to pay.
Yep.
Now, my sister had a lot of friends because she was popular. And so they would always have parties over there. My parents would always go to drop her off. And I could think of at least 3 places in town that were like this. One of them was in that mall. Another one was in this little shopping center down the strip. We have this... the main street where like all the fucking commercial shit is at is called SPID, or as I like to call it, SPID. And like everything in the commercial district is just down this one street because it runs almost the full length of the town. We just call it the strip sometimes. And one of them was there a little bit further up towards Crosstown. Now, my parents always told me, because for some reason they always felt it necessary whenever they dropped my sister off, that they had to take me with them. They had to bring me along so I could see it, but I couldn't go inside because, fuck you, that's why. And that's another thing. That's like not anymore. So we're still on topic. But it's like, it looked like, hey, are you a kid? You're going to love this place. And like, I always had to be the kid sitting in the car looking in. And like, they'd leave me in the car while they were doing this. And they said, like, can't I at least get off so I can look inside? I'm like, no, you stay in the car. Because fuck me, that's why. And no, they said, you're too young. You can't go in because you're too young. That's always the fucking excuse they fed me. And finally I was old enough to go, and they were all gone. Every last one. They all shut down. It's like they were keeping track of my fucking birthday. And it's his birthday and closed.
Putt-putt was a place I remember going to when I was young.
Oh, yeah.
It was a miniature golf course.
Putt-putt golf.
I think it's a franchise, so there might be some places that still have it, but here, we don't.
That was the first of the putt-putt places to go.
Yeah.
Because we used to have quite a few of them. There was putt-putt golf.
The one I went to a lot was close to the bluff.
Yeah, that's the one. That was putt-putt golf. That's the titular putt-putt golf. I went there once. And well, you keep going. I'm walking over you right now.
Oh, that's fine. Actually, I went there quite often. It was like at least once a month, and me and my parents would go there. I never asked to go there. That's just the place they took me. So I guess my dad really liked miniature golf. um, yeah, that's one of the places I miss. Also in that area, there used to be this restaurant called Floyd's. Um,
Was it on our side?
it was near there. We'd go to putt-putt and then we'd go to like eat at Floyd's or Long John Silver's afterwards.
No, the Long John Silver's that was there is gone.
Yeah.
But we still have Long John Silver's. They're not gone. There's only 2 of them in town.
Yeah, one of them's a hybrid.
Yeah, so you don't get the full menu. It's like a Long John's and an A&W.
Yeah. What the fuck is A&W?
It's a root beer, I know that.
I've never seen that anywhere else.
He's like, hey, we make sodas and sometimes food, maybe?
Yeah, their burgers aren't that impressive, but...
I've never been there. It's like, I'm sorry, it's like, if you make soft drinks, like, I'm not going to go to, like, the Coca-Cola burger joint. I'm not going to go to, like, the Royal Crown, like, fucking fast food joint. I'm not going to go to the Dr. Pepper food depot.
I'd try the Dr. Pepper depot. But I love Dr. Pepper.
Does it love you back?
Not anymore. Dialysis.
But yeah, but like, I remember putt-putt because we went there once and only once. And because my parents were there with me, I wasn't allowed to go inside where they had the arcade games because reasons. My parents really didn't like me being around arcade games when I was a kid. They always claimed that I was too hyperactive. I think they mistook joy and happiness as hyperactivity. And therefore it was something that needed to be culled and stopped.
Yeah, my parents, they kind of gave me shit for enjoying arcade games. It didn't stop me, but they would like make fun of me because I was happy. And I was like,
how dare you?
Why am I not allowed to have fun with this? It's fun.
It's like literally, it is a machine that you feed it quarters and it dispenses enjoyment. Why should it not be enjoyed?
Right.
It is like literally its purpose. It's one goal.
It leaks happiness for a quarter. What?
It's like, why the fuck would you get mad at a vacuum cleaner for cleaning the floor? Why would you get mad at a fan for cooling you down? Why the fuck are you angry about someone enjoying an arcade game? What the fuck is wrong with you? At least that's how I fucking see it. Tell me I'm wrong. Lie to me.
Speaking of arcades, all the ones we have, they're fucking gone.
Yeah, every last one. I think we mentioned them a little bit. We mentioned some of the arcade games back when we were talking about video games in another recording. But yeah, it's like, man, I miss arcades. Now,
the closest we have is the Dollar Cinema has a few arcade machines.
But most of them are broken.
Yeah.
Like the one thing that actually still works over there most of the time is they have like this one, which is like, I noticed like a couple of years back, like right after 2000. Well, not right after 2000. I'd say like the early 2010s. I started seeing these things pop up, and they're essentially like a one-all machine.
Multicades.
Yeah. They're kind of like the old SNKs, except they have like dozens and dozens of arcade ROMs in there, as opposed to just like, 4, like the SNK cabinets. But yeah, the most of the ones I've seen are primarily Capcom games. But I've seen a few that are like Capcom and Taito and a couple of other like, lesser, like Data East, stuff like that. Because like not everyone remembers like all the different like companies that made arcade games. It was like Capcom, Namco, Taito, Sega, Konami. Konami used to be big on the beat 'em ups. Fuck you, Konami, for taking all that away from us. And like, yeah, a lot of those, but like, yeah, unfortunately they went down because of just the way video games go. Since you have video game consoles that can literally render anything that an arcade cabinet can do, and you just buy it and take it home, there's no point in having arcades anymore.
Yeah.
All the arcades we have now don't even have video games. They're just ticket muncher games. Like you go into like a place that still has coin-operated games, like a pizza joint, like Chuck E. Cheese or someplace like that. It's all like, throw the ball over here and get some tickets, or like a crane game, or just, it is like, and even like the Peter Piper pizzas that we got, they only have like, they're all those games. they'll have like one light gun game, like a House of the Dead or something like that, and then everything else is just. They've even turned like fucking mobile games into arcade cabinets. They got this one that's like choppy wood.
I saw one for Fruit Ninja.
Oh yeah, there's like a Fruit Ninja at every one of those pizza places. They got the Fruit Ninja, they got Crossy Roads, and they got Choppy Wood. All of those are like mobile touch games. There's also this other one called like Temple Run, which is another like a mobile phone game, and like they dispose tickets. And I'm thinking, Jesus, it's like that's what we've come to now. God, I miss the days of the old arcade. Then again, like, if I could have bought, like, arcade perfect versions of those games for my console, I fucking would have.
Yeah.
But that's one of the reasons why I love compilation games so much. But, yeah, there was another putt-putt golf place across our main bridge called Harbor Bridge. And that one had a racetrack to go with it. I went there once.
I heard about that one, but I never got to go.
Yeah, I went there once because a school friend of mine had a birthday out there. And so, yeah, they had a pretty bitchin' arcade. I was actually able to look at the arcades because my parents dropped me off. They didn't keep me on a short leash.
Oh, jeez. Could you imagine if they had those parent leashes back when you were a kid?
They did. My parents had me on a fucking leash.
Huh.
It's like, yeah, for like when I was a kid, like my parents had me on a literal fucking leash. Now, it wasn't with a collar around the neck. It was like this. I remember it very vividly because my parents had me on that fucker quite a bit. And they said it wasn't to keep me like in line because, I remember it. And they tried to pretend it didn't happen, but I fucking know it did. They can't lie to me. They keep trying to gaslight me. They can't fucking do that with this shit. But like this is like they make a point. They say like, it was the 80s. It was like, remember John Stossel's kid? He got fucking destroyed and they never found the killer. And so like that's when like all the kidnappings really came into the public eye. So everyone was paranoid about their kids getting fucking snatched up. And Lord knows if I could have gotten away from my parents on certain occasions, I fucking would have. But so they kept me on this leash. It was like this rainbow colored suspender thing that would go over your shoulders like regular suspenders, but it went across your chest and your back. And on the back there was like this swirled up bungee cord thing, like a phone cord. That's another thing that's not around anymore, fucking phone cords. It's like it was a swirly phone cord looking thing. If you've ever seen a phone cord, if you've ever been in an office,
they used to be attached to the walls, not to your hip.
And like it came out of the back, and then like it would be like around a wrist thing, with also like a hand grip. So if like the parent wanted to actively grab the hand grip, they could, but in case they let go, it wouldn't fall off. It was still attached like with Velcro around the wrist, and it wasn't designed to keep your kid from like getting away from you and going to the arcades or going to the toy section and asking for shit that you don't want to buy from them. It's like, no, it was there to like, in case someone tried to like fucking nab your kid, which is still an issue. It's like you still see shit on the news every so often. Well, I do since you don't watch the news. Or like,
I've got better things to do than hate the world.
Well, that's like 80% of my day, man.
Oh, well,
they call me angry for a fucking reason.
Yeah, well, I live a happier life when I eat my hot dogs, motherfucker.
Like, yeah, you see these fuckers, like, not even being subtle about it. They just straight up grab, like, a little kid and try to run out the door with it like it's a fucking side of beef or a TV. It's like, dude, subtlety, come on.
I saw this great video once where it was an elevator security cam, and this guy tried to kidnap a girl. And apparently she knew martial arts, so she shoulder flips him, starts beating the unholy crap out of him.
Serves the fucker right.
He tries to get out, and she yanks him back into the elevator so she can start pummeling his ass some more.
Wait, I think I saw that one. If it was an Asian girl, I think that one was like a prank thing or like a comedy video. But if that shit was for real and she just like monkey stomped this guy into oblivion, more power to her. Like, go for the eyes, man, the eyes.
I don't think it was fake. It looked like she was beating the unholy fuck out of him. But
well, some people go to great lengths for comedy. He lost some teeth, but it was funny, yo.
Yeah, I mean, hell, look at me. I go to dialysis now.
But,
but like, hey, watch me eat 7 slices of pizza at once. It's funny, guys. It's funny.
But let's see, what was another thing that went down? In the same vein as putt-putt golf places, because the only putt-putt golf place I know is on the island, and that's like, what, an hour drive from here almost? It's at least 45 minutes with the traffic. It is not close.
Is Pirates of the Gulf still around?
Where was that?
It's under the bridge.
No. Oh, God, that was the place that had the racetrack.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was the place that was across the bridge. You had to go to North Beach to get there.
Yeah, I had fun there. It was fun.
And of course, it's like the building's still there. That's the fucked up thing. It's like the building's still there. It's still got the picture of like the Indy race car from where they actually had like the go-karts there. And it's just there taunting you. It's like, hey, you remember this? Don't you wish this was still a thing? It's like, that's fucking gone. I think there's one on the island. Oh, there is still Fun Trackers. Fun Trackers are still there. But they constantly have the go-kart shit under maintenance.
Yeah.
We need to go there before that shit gets closed down too. Fuck. But in that same vein, Cityscape. You remember that?
Yeah. We actually used to have a couple skating rings. We also used a few bowling alleys.
I think we only have the one now, but Cityscapes was the only skating rink I was aware of. You said there was more?
There were, yeah. I would end up taking field trips to them. My schools, they always like went to these roller.
Why do your schools like were cool and mine just sucked ass?
Probably because you're hungry.
No, this is the things that led up to me being angry. This was not an effect. This was a cause.
You're probably some sort of experiment, dude.
Sometimes I have to wonder, you know.
You know, it's like a Truman Show, but you know, like you pay a premium to like fuck with you. All right.
Everyone gets a fucking turn. Who wants to piss him off today?
All right, for $100, we're gonna take away Angry's favorite shoe store and his shoes. For an additional $20, we'll also take away his comfy socks.
You're not too far from the truth. That's what makes it hurt so much. But yeah, Cityscapes was the only one I was aware of. Cityscapes was actually damn near across the street from Putt-Putt Golf. It was a very large skating rink that had a pretty badass arcade. When you walk in,
they had a boss arcade.
Yeah, they had some fucking. They had Total Carnage, which was that one Midway game. That's another arcade company, Midway.
Oh, they had all kinds of side scrolling beat 'em ups that I've just never fucking heard of. That one Ninja Baseball Batman, they fucking had it at one point.
Fucking really? I never got to see that one there.
Oh, they had it, and it was fucking awesome.
Fuck, man. I remember playing Total Carnage over there. That game was fucking boss. It's like Smash TV on steroids. Yeah. That game didn't fuck around.
No, it didn't.
And then like that one weird-ass fighting game where you can actually play, it was like the sprite-based fighting game where they had like a color-coded meter and numbers instead of a life bar. And they had like a jaguar or like a panther or something as like a playable character. That one was over there too. But they had the skating ring. It took me a while to learn how to skate, but I finally learned. It took me like that place was there for a while, and I got to go there more than once, only because my sister went there too. It was the only reason I was able to go was because she was going too. And of course, when I finally learned how to skate, I got to skate around there once, and then they shut it down. But I got to enjoy the arcade more than once. So they just waited until I learned how to skate. They didn't wait until I found it, at least. Thank God. I was able to enjoy it a little bit more. Because like putt-putt, only went there once. The one putt-putt golf place that was like under the bridge, only went there once. The one out on the island, only went there once.
Like with Pirates of the Gulf, me and my dad went there before it was like joined with all the racetracks and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's a miniature golf course that was pirate themed. Like you would travel from broken ships into like a pirate cave, and then eventually you'd get out of there. And
I think I have vague memories of that. I was in elementary school when I went there.
Yeah, and they were actually some pretty tough golf courses too.
Putt-putt golf didn't have like really eclectic like mini golf. It was like mostly just like the 2x4, like, you know, barriers and like the obstacles made out of like pieces of cut wood, and they had like like the windmill thing, and like maybe like a paper mache animal or creature of some sort, like a dragon.
Yeah.
But other than that, was pretty standard putt-putt, but it was something different, It's like as a kid, you fucking love that stuff.
Yeah, there in one of the malls they had a space themed miniature.
No, that one's still there. That's in the dying mall.
Okay. Yeah, me and my dad went to that one, and like everything's in black light there, and
It's a good way to find out if you got any stains on your clothes that you thought came out in the wash.
And yeah, everything's done with neon paint, and it was a fun golf course, but being under that many black lights in a mall that no longer cares about its AC unit, it was balls fucking hot. It was the wrong day to wear a long sleeve.
This is Corpus. Every day is the wrong day to wear long sleeves. Even like when we get cold fronts, it's only cold in the morning. By noon, it's like 80. It's like it was 42 degrees when I got up this morning. It is now 89 with 100% humidity.
My wife was telling me one of the ideas they have is instead of doing black streets, making them concrete like the sidewalks. And I said, okay, well, what's going to happen is it's going to reflect the heat, which is going to vaporize our clouds, and it will never fucking rain again.
Because it rains so much here as it is.
All right, yeah, 3 days a year.
I mean, like
usually consecutively.
It's like, yeah, usually like it rains so little here that sometimes the asshats on the news stations, those weather Nazis, like, they'll fucking go on and they'll say, like, we wouldn't mind if we got some tropical depression rain. Is like, fuck you. Yeah. We got that shit last year. A lot of fucking good that did us.
Yeah, honestly, the only like true rain we really get is during our spring break vacation. So
yeah,
it's
with
like
spring break, it always fucking rains.
Yeah, so when you're supposed to go out and enjoy the beach, it's pouring buckets.
Just to fuck with the tourists. It's like, oh, you come any other day, it's hot as balls. That's why, like, people who live here, us people who live in Corpus, we never go to the fucking beach. There's no reason. It's like, why do I want to drive all the way out there to be hot and get sand in my fucking car?
And balls.
Get sand up in your everything. I didn't even know I had this shit until I got sand in it. I didn't realize I had creases in my back fat until I got sand stuck in it. I didn't know I had back fat until I had sand stuck in it.
I didn't know I had the sandwich until I had sand in it.
Oh, that's where I left that sandwich in my car. I don't remember making it. It's just showed up.
With sand.
Now here's a place I never got to go to, but I heard about Honeybee Hams or something like that.
I've heard about them. I've never gone myself either.
Well, now they have the Honey Baked Hams, which is like a place where you can just buy hams. But this was Honeybee Hams. This was some sort of like hangout place where they our mutual friend went there. It was in the downtown area, and because his mother's law office was there, that's why he was able to find it and go there. But apparently it was a hangout for kids, and you can go there and get like all kinds of like candy, and they had like all these eclectic soft drinks. So it was almost like an old soda fountain place from like the 50s, if you ever like see pictures and shit of that, where they'd have like the titular soda jerks there with like just like all the sodas on tap and shit. But this place also had like a lot of music and shit, like mostly stuff like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and shit that was like,
I wish I heard about it. I love weird soda.
Well, like, once again, like, once like something like that is cool, then they have to destroy it because otherwise we'll get to enjoy it.
Well, speaking of which, Rocket Fizz.
Oh, yeah. That's something that we were able to go there like at least like 4 or 5 times, and it's awesome, but of course, we can't have nice things here in Corpus, so they closed it down. They left the sign, though. As a big fuck you, they left the goddamn sign. It's still there. Just to remind you of what you had and what you can no longer have, because we're not allowed to have nice things.
Yeah, I was enjoying buying a whole bunch of weird sodas there. And,
now we're going to have to do like everyone else and just order the shit online and hope that it actually gets here, like in one piece. It's like, hey, you want it to be more expensive? and like, tastes like shit because it's been sitting in transit for the past 5 days.
And shaking.
And shaking, yeah. And like also like hope that it even gets here because like when shit gets to Corpus, it has to pass through the hands of people who live here in Corpus, and they're like a bunch of sticky fingered motherfuckers. Just like most of the shit I order online, I don't even get. Or like, you can clearly see where someone tried to open it. So when you order shit online around here, you gotta hope that it's shit no one wants. So that they open it up, look at it, and go, I don't want it. And then you actually do get it. Don't order jewelry online or anything that can be fucking fenced very easily.
Well, I haven't had any of my stuff stolen. I've just had idiot postage. But yeah, what sucks is it's really hard to hold them accountable because they just throw their shoulders up and say, "Oops." And it's
Oops.
like, "Oops does not get me my collectible figures, motherfucker."
Oops does not fix this. Oops just reminds you of how much you need to be punished physically with violence. Yes, folks, violence does solve everything. And if it doesn't, you're just not using enough of it. It was like, I can't open this door. Did you try kicking it? Yeah, but it still won't open. Then you haven't kicked it enough. Or hard enough.
This is the FBI. That said, no, it's cooler when you break in.
I need something to put on my fucking Instagram.
Get a selfie this shit.
Just imagine some asshat like with a smile taking a selfie. Just see angry cops moments before they tackle him and tase the shit out of him.
Oh, that's on par with that idea I had with the Macho Man curse. So for those of you who haven't heard of it, I had this idea. Wouldn't it be awesome if the Macho Man, Randy Savage, had a similar curse to Candyman? You say his name in the mirror 5 times and he elbow drops you. We told this to our mutual friend, and he's like, he'd just imagine a whole bunch of people taking selfies of Macho Man elbow dropping them from heaven.
And just imagine, like, you say it the 4th time and you just hear, like, way off in the distance, oh, here comes the Macho Madness. And then, like, they take the selfie just as they're saying, like, the name for the 5th time, and you can already see, like, the elbow at the top of the frame coming down.
Oh, yeah!
I want to see someone Photoshop. I want to see someone take a selfie of themselves in a bathroom mirror and just Photoshop like the upper torso and elbow of Macho Man Randy Savage moments before impact, just from the upper part of the frame. Someone please do that and send us a link.
I tell you what, if we got merch by the time this is up and we say this, the best Photoshop we see of people getting elbow drop on Macho Man, we'll give them a free something from the shop.
If we have a free something. If we don't have it by now, we will get you a free something at a later date.
Yeah. As soon as we have a shop, we'll get you a free something.
It's like we'll come up with something.
I
I will draw on a T-shirt and sign it for you.
I will get my chicken grease on it. That's my signature.
Fats wiped his mouth with it. You should be honored. Bow down. No, that sounds a little bit too megalomaniacal.
Yeah.
Or megamaniacal.
Somebody.
I can't even fucking say that.
Words.
Proper pronunciations. Let's see. Going back to KBs for a second. You know what always weirded me out? Back in the day of Double Dare, like if you ever want a gas, go online and hopefully before some asshat takes it down. Because it used to be that you can find a bunch of these fucking episodes on YouTube, but then someone, for whatever fucking reason, took them down because fuck you, that's why. But old episodes of Double Dare. Not Triple Dare, not Family Double Dare, not Double Dare 2000, Double Dare. Like back in the fucking 80s. Like back when one of the prizes you could win was a Nintendo Entertainment System with its giant library of 5 games. Because that's all they had fucking released because the thing had come out that fucking holiday season. Like that fucking new. That's how fucking old it was. But they used to you'd get one of the things you could win on the obstacle course was like a gift card to KB Toys. And the advertisement they always showed was like this horrible dystopian commercial. And like it didn't have audio because it was just it was like a clip from a commercial that I never got to see as a kid. But it showed like all these little kids dressed up as toy soldiers because KB Toys, their mascot was a toy soldier.
Yeah.
And so it was a bunch of these kids dressed up in toy soldiers, not just dressed up as toy soldiers, but they even had like the fucking big rosy cheek face paint and like the black lines drawn on the chin so that they looked kind of like nutcrackers. And they were in some sort of underground like boiler room with like uneven stone brickwork. Like it looked like some place where you store like wine. Like underground. And you see them like working and making toys on these wooden benches, like or wooden tables, like Santa's elves. And like off in the distance in the background, you saw this giant fucking fire. It looked like one of those giant coal fire pizza ovens. You know, where it's got a giant wide mouth that you could easily stick like a full-size horse into this thing without even touching the sides.
Well, that's how they got their glue.
Yes, they put horses in the mold and melted them down into glue ingots.
Yes.
I remember you saying that, and I just did not know how to respond to that. Putting horses in pots and melting them down into glue. Pouring them into glue ingots. That's how glue is made. It's just the whole fucking horse. Well, he's not winning races anymore. Well, melt him down. We can get 5 ingots out of this one easy.
Let's turn him into something sticky by boiling him.
Just the idea, you boil horses down into ingots. That is so fucked up. I'm proud of you. I'm ashamed I didn't think of that. But yeah, it's like I remember seeing this as a kid and like being kind of weirded out. As an adult, it's even creepier. It's like, are these children like captured and then forced into slave labor? It's like, put on these clothes so we can demean you. You're not even human anymore. You're just toy soldiers to work until you break. And then when you break, we throw you into the fire.
They got caught stealing from the KB. Now they serve.
Nice. It just sounds like, oh God, what kind of... It's like, you know, they work in the bowels of hell to make toys for you. It's like, well, if it fucking helps me afford my Ronin Warriors action figures, whip those little bastards. Whip them good.
More G.I. Joes, damn it. I need a Storm Shadow version 2, now. That's a story I'll have to tell at a different time.
Oh, yeah. We're always looking for new things to talk about. Little side thing. Of course, if you guys have a topic for us to talk about. Not political right now. We're not doing that at the moment. Maybe at a later date. Just not now.
Well, we've got enough fans to...
Survive!
we might consider it.
But yeah, just whatever you guys want us to talk about. Even if it's a small subject, like a basic, like, you know, hey, here's a question. Like, we can run through a lot of that shit. Maybe we'll do it as Patreons. I don't know. We're still, like I said, we still haven't posted any of these, so we're just going along, hoping that anyone's fucking listening, besides us.
Oh, the upstairs neighbors, maybe.
Fuck them. Any other places you have in mind? Not anymore?
Stuff that I miss. My kidneys.
They're still there, they just don't work. You're just taking a sabbatical on your sides.
Yeah, I found out something. If you do actually get a kidney transplant, they don't take out your old kidneys. They just put it next to them.
That's fucking stupid.
Yeah, and I don't see like why they would leave rotting meat in your body, but yeah, they don't take out your kidneys.
I guess because they process urine, if they cut those tubes, that it might create like infections or like backup or like could
something, yeah,
trap
maybe.
something. I don't know.
But yeah, you know, they just put the new one in it, so like you might have 3 or 4 kidneys in your body.
Fuck me, man. That's just weird to think about.
Yeah.
It's like we're turning you into a fucking pinata of kidneys.
Steve, why do you have 10 kidneys? Because I keep fucking up.
You just won't learn. I think there's at a certain time they'll have to cut you off. It's like, look, you you keep fucking up the waiting list. You need to stop.
Stop. Stop.
It's like that one gif of Michael Jordan. Stop it. Just stop it. I wish I knew the context of that. What is he telling people?
It's a drug PSA. He says something like, if you're doing drugs, stop it.
Yes, because it's that fucking easy to tell a junkie to just stop doing the shit that they're like violently addicted to.
Oh, it's easy to tell them that. It doesn't get you anywhere.
Damn. That's the truth bomb right there.
I worked at a halfway house. Stop doing drugs.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
You only get 20 more tries.
Before we just shoot you in the back of the neck.
Well, I always, yeah, I'm a horrible person for this, but I always had this fantasy of owning my own cornfield and having a special building in the center of it where I would take just the absolute fuck-ups that will never get it right, so I could just take them there and shoot them.
Why waste the bullet? Just get that fucking pneumatic piston that they use for cows.
Because then I'd have to get close to them and I don't want to get their slop on me.
It's like, I'm going to shoot you, but stand over there.
Yeah. Hey, there's some cocaine on the floor over there. Bang!
You get a shotgun because I'm too lazy to aim.
Quit ruining my taxes. You fuck up.
Yeah, it's like that's something that like really only someone like you has a right to say. Someone that's worked at a halfway house for how many years did you work there?
6 years.
6 years. I think 5 is enough.
Yeah, and you know, I'm not talking like all of them. I'm just talking the absolutely hopeless that keep fucking it up for other people. You know, so if somebody wants to go off and overdose in an alley where they can't fucking hurt anyone, that's how they want to end their life. I'm talking about the people who keep fucking up for their families time and time again and do not learn because they don't give a shit about anybody else.
Or people are just like Cartman from that episode where he goes to that fat farm. That was fucked up. And
yeah.
only South Park.
And despite, you know, fantasizing about it, I would never actually do it, but by damn it, I can dream.
Well, you can put those stipulations. That's not going to stop some fucking asshat taking it out of context.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. No one on the internet's liked by everybody.
Yeah. That's true.
You just have to be liked by somebody.
Yeah.
Everybody needs somebody sometime.
Like Tuna Fish Tom. Somebody out there loves him.
No.
Somebody loves him. It's not us, but somebody does.
You know, it's like thinking about places that aren't around anymore. There's like, obviously McDonald's are still around, but I miss the way they used to have their old play areas. I remember,
that was kind of neat.
it's like, granted, they're fucking archaic by today's standards. All the play areas they have nowadays is like they're all indoors so that they have the benefit of the air conditioning, and they're all like these giant multi-tiered, like they
slides and climbing vessels,
and ball pits and shit. It looks like the kind of shit that you. Like,
they did away with the ball pits in most of them.
Did they?
Yeah, for sanitary reasons, babies leave their diapers behind.
I guess that's true, but like, you know, it's not like it's not like I can go in there and like check for myself.
Yeah.
It's like, tell all the kids to get out. It's time for me to have some fun. I need this. It was taken away from me when I was a kid.
Yeah. What I hated is like when I was old enough to get into those damn play areas, I was considered too big to play in them, so the management would have me like come out.
Dude, fuck those people.
Yeah, it's like, you know, but I'm younger than him. I'm just tall.
It's like you can't have fun because we say you can't.
Yeah.
It's like we can't have fun. You can't have fun because of the misfortune of your birth. It's like, yeah. It's like, you want to talk about nowadays where they make everyone feel special and like all inclusive and all that shit? No, that was not the case back in the day. You're different. Get the fuck out. It's like, but that's just how shit was, you know? Fucking, well, it's not like it made us happy.
Yeah, it didn't make us happy. But, you know, we learned that everybody has their own funk.
Everyone's got problems. It's just to what degree
Yeah.
and what kind. It's like, does he have any physical abnormalities? Well, no, none that we could find. Then he's fucked in the head. It's one or the other. It's like, but what if he's no one's perfect. Everyone's fucked. One way or another, you're fucked. Deal with it.
You all are not snowflakes, except that you could burn easy.
You melt very easily when applied to fire. But it's like,
except for Joey. Joey's weird.
with his asbestos skin, riddled with cancer. But it's benign, so he's okay. But it's like some of the McDonald's I used to go to as a kid, because my grandmother, it's like we used to like wear her down, me and my sister, because we like going to McDonald's. So that's one thing I did get to enjoy as a kid, was going to McDonald's. Not all the time, every now and then. Enough, I'll say that, enough times. And they used to have these outdoor play areas that were essentially like, a lot of them were like weird type of jungle gyms. I remember one was like a giant tube with like a fucking like straight up vertical ladder, like a rung ladder that you'd climb up to, and at the top it was this little fucking encasement that looked like it had bars, and this whole thing was a caricature of like that one burger like police officer, because he used to have like this burger-headed police officer who would go after the Hamburglar.
Yeah.
Back when the Hamburglar was a thing. I think they tried to bring him back, but I haven't seen any commercials for McDonald's. But like, yeah,
you
it's
should
like,
only see Grimace and Birdie now if they show any of the McDonald friends.
I thought they got rid of Grimace because he was too weird.
I don't know. That originally he had 4 arms.
Yeah, I know, it was weird. Supposedly he was supposed to be like the representative for like the Shake. I'm like, how the fuck do you look at this thing and like get like say that reminds me of a fucking Shake?
I heard from an older lady that he wasn't supposed to be a Shake. They called him Grimace because if you dropped your Shake, that's what you did.
That might be it. I mean, I saw like there was an article that we both read.
He also used to be a bad guy. He would steal the Shakes.
It's like, well, like, yeah, it was like, well, I remember seeing this old commercial. I don't know if it was on Cracked, but they had a link to it. They were talking about the origin of the Grimace, and they showed like, yeah, in the first commercial, he's like this curmudgeon. He's like a fucking Grinch that lives in a cave who like frightens people, and so Ronald McDonald bombs in with like a milkshake and gives it to the Grimace to make him feel happy, and it makes him feel happy, end of story. Because these were commercials, they didn't exactly have time to give you like a fucking Shakespearean play.
Remember when McDonald had that weird like stove thing on his stomach that he would summon magic cheeseburgers?
You mean the original Ronald McDonald, where he looked like some sort of like dumpster clown?
Yeah. He wore a shake over his nose or something.
Yeah, it was like a shake cup over his nose, and he had like he had like shit on his head. It was like,
I want to say it was like a dinner box or something on his head.
Like he literally looked like he was like an out of work clown who jumped into like a dumpster out back of a McDonald's, tried to like MacGyver like a costume out of just trash, and popped out. And it's like they called him Ronald McDonald, the Hamburger Happy Clown, and he had like.
He had a serving tray that.
Yeah, he had like a serving tray on his stomach.
And it like one section had fries, a burger, and like I think the drink. And like he'd take one off, give it to a kid, and like another burger would magically appear. And like he's talking.
Like, you gonna eat that shit?
You
gonna trust this fucker?
I remember this one commercial where like some kid does something good for me. He's like, just for that, I'm gonna give you 5 more cheeseburgers.
Here, diabetes, enjoy. Oh, fuck. Frankly, that guy just looked fucking sketchy. I'm really glad they made him. As much as people are afraid of clowns, it's like, really? No. It's like, man, it's like, they clowned him up. That was a fucking good thing. We're still on topic. That's still something that's not around anymore.
Crinkles the clown.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus monkey Christ. That was fucked up.
I think maybe that was the kind of fucking commercial Stephen King watched as a kid. It just stuck with him.
That's true.
That's some
Crinkles does
fucking...
kind of look like Pennywise.
He doesn't kind of look like Pennywise. He's Pennywise before Pennywise. You know that fucker lived in a sewer between takes. They have to like lure him out with like a fresh child. They must make an offering before they can get him in front of the camera and eat their fucking sugar rice crinkles.
Oh, there we go. We bring up horror movies. Fucking video stores, any of them. Blockbusters.
Oh,
We had so many mom and pop ones down here.
I never got to go to the mom and pop ones, but yeah, there was a lot of them. Of course, like, yeah, that's something I do miss. There's something deep that was just fun about. You didn't even have to rent anything. Just going through a rental store and seeing all the different movies.
Yeah.
Now, like when I was a kid, I had to find ways to make my own fun because my parents weren't super stingy, but they didn't like buying me things all the time. It's like I like to shit on my parents for a lot of stuff, but you know, they got me a Nintendo, they got me a Sega, they got me a Super Nintendo. I got a Sega Dreamcast out of them and a Nintendo 64. I even got Sega Channel out of them. I got a PlayStation. I got a PlayStation 2. These are all the game systems that they bought me. I even had like a Game Gear and a Game Boy. You know, so unlike a lot of other people I knew that either had a Sega Genesis or a Super Nintendo or a Nintendo, they didn't have the option of going with Sega and Nintendo like I did. It's like, you know, it's like I was lucky for that. That's something that I have to say that my parents are like, you know, giving enough for me to be able to have that option. You know, people like you could be a Nintendo fan, you can be a Sega fan. I didn't have to make that choice because I had both.
Yeah.
Now that said, you know, like I liked renting shit, and my parents weren't always too keen on letting me rent shit. So sometimes I would just ask, hey, while you guys are shopping, can I go to the rental part of the store? And they'd say, well, okay, just so long as you don't leave it and don't go out with, like, you know, don't follow anyone out. It's like, well, fucking obviously. Once you get to a certain age, it's like, it's just duh.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, your parents are in trouble. Come with me. He's like, oh yeah, what's their names? What's their address? Fuck off. Yeah, once you get to that age, it's a lot more difficult to be fooled. But yeah, so I would just wander around rental stores and look, and God, that's when you admire, like, you know, covers for movies. Obviously, like sci-fi and horror movies had the best covers.
Indeed.
God, like, could you imagine, like, if your parents owned like a mom and pop like rental store, and because you were their kid, you could like check out whatever movie you wanted whenever you wanted. That would have been like back in the 80s and 90s. That would have been the fucking dream, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Have some kids over for a sleepover. You know, hey, what do you want to watch? I got Mr. Giggles and fucking Friday the 13th Part 2. That's all we're up to.
Dead Alive.
Yes.
Like all of it. You name it, I got it.
You'll watch every fucking horror movie your parents never wanted you to see.
It's like we're gonna watch these, and you tell me which one's better, Leviathan or Deep Star 6. Those were two horror movies that had some badass covers to them.
Yeah.
But
I've heard there were a lot of movies I wanted to watch just because of the cover. Is like, you know, what the fuck is that?
Oh yeah, it's like in a rental store, a cover could fucking make or break a rental, you know?
Like, I was always intrigued by the cover of The Abyss with that, like, broken out dive suit.
No, that was, the one with the broken out dive suit, that was Deep Star 6.
Oh, Deep Star 6, okay.
Yeah, the cover of Deep Star 6, that's one of the reasons I mentioned it, because that one and Leviathan, like, stuck with me, the covers of those when I was a kid. On Leviathan, the cover was a picture of, like, a man and a woman hugging each other while grabbing on to, like, a type of, emergency air balloon thing. It's essentially like a weather balloon that inflates so that when you're underwater, it just inflates and it yanks your happy ass up to the surface. Toot sweet. Though it'd be very unrealistic because if you're down low enough where you need something like that, your ass is going to get the bend something fierce from the pressure change. You're going to get hydrogen bubbles in your brain and you're going to die. Now, Deep Star 6 arguably had a much better cover because there's a picture of a deep sea diving suit. And if you've ever seen these, they used to have them. They were full encased steel suits with a big round helmet with like the viewports on the side, top, and front. And they were designed so that the pressure wouldn't crush you. So they were like hard. It wasn't like a wetsuit. This thing was like it had like stiff joints, and rather than like gloves, it had these big ball joints with these mechanical pinchers. And in the cover, it was like one of those, but the bottom part was missing. It looked like it had been bitten through, and so the whole bottom half was gone. There was just jagged metal, like halfway down the waist.
Yeah.
And like that fucked me up as a kid.
Yeah, I never got to see that movie. I've always wanted to.
Our mutual friend showed it to us one time, or showed it to me one time. We actually, because I mentioned those two, and so as a laugh, he downloaded both of them, and we watched them both back to back. And I think Deep Star 6 was the better movie overall, just because it was more memorable. Also, it had what's his name, the black guy from Ghostbusters. And of course, since it's a horror movie, they kill him off. Like in a really shitty way too, man. It's like, come on, it was at the end. He didn't need to die. That's bullshit. You're just doing this to like fucking give more credence to that goddamn stereotype that was like, a big thing back in the day. It's like, I don't know where it started. I don't know why it started, but in retrospect, it's pretty fucking dumb. Like, the one black guy in the horror movie that always has to die is like, seriously, you always got to kill off the black guy? It's not even a race thing. It's just trite. It's just like, it's like it's like, why? But then you can't do the opposite either. Like the black guy's the only one that survives because that just seems kind of forced. It's like,
Well, for a while they were doing that. They'd have a black guy say, black people do not do well in situations like these. And once they said that, they were going to survive to the end.
yeah, it's like, what was that? Deep Blue?
Deep Blue was one of them.
Yeah, or like, you see the shark that like inhales everyone in like less than a second and destroys them. But for some fucking reason, he chews on iced tea for like 3 minutes straight. And he's perfectly fine.
I think that was LL Cool J, but, nonetheless, yeah, he got chewed like bubble gum and spit out like bad tobacco.
And like the chick that he's with, like she gets fucking just gobbled immediately.
Yeah.
And it was kind of silly, but oh well, at least it didn't go with the stereotype, Because like that's what it is. It's a fucking stereotype.
Oh, Jurassic Park. Before the credits are even finished, they kill a black guy.
It was like, what you mean? I don't remember them killing off Samuel L. Jackson, but I know he didn't make it out. When the hell did he die?
Deep Blue?
No. Samuel L. Jackson in Jurassic Park.
I don't know if he died or not.
I think he did. I just don't think it's on screen.
But at the opening, they're like getting a raptor cage.
No, that was like some sort of South American dude. I don't believe he was black. I think he was like Hispanic. He could have been black. I don't remember like the whole shoot bit. Yeah, but yeah, rental stores, man, I miss those because also it gave you an idea of like what was out. It's like you'd find a lot of shit that you'd never think to watch.
Yeah, or like, when you were a kid, if you didn't get to see something in theater, it was usually like gone. You didn't get to see it because like stuff like that didn't come on the TV except in premium channels. And, at the times they'd be showing, your parents have already taken over the TV.
Like if you had the one TV situation.
Yeah.
But like if you had HBO or Showtime, you could look out every now and then, but that's like if you caught it.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times, one thing I always hated was like watching those stations and like you turn it in, it's a movie, and you catch it like halfway through. Fuck, I hate that. Because then it's like, if you enjoyed it, you don't know what it is. It's like, great, now I gotta fucking get the TV guide. That's if your parents even got the TV guide.
Yeah. There was one movie that I had caught it like maybe 20 minutes in. So I didn't know the whole context of it, but it was a movie with Rutger Hauer. And years later, I had ended up buying that movie, not realizing I had bought it just because it was a sci-fi movie that I didn't own. It's called Omega Doom. And he's essentially a cyborg that's been programmed to hunt down evil cyborgs, but I fucking love that movie. It's cheesy. The special effects are way dated, and like you will get annoyed to death by hearing like the robot clicky noises, but I love it. It's got this one line that I've always thought is just fucking wonderful. The main villain in there, her name's Blackheart, and she's in a fight with him, and she asks him who died and made you God, and before he cuts her head off, he says, "You did."
Now, one thing I'd like to bring up is like about rental stores is like people nowadays, like millennials and shit, may not know why they were such a big deal. And just to give this a bit of reference, a while ago we were watching like old commercials from the 80s and 90s. And one of the commercials that we saw on one of these compilations on YouTube was a commercial for Top Gun. Everyone knows what Top Gun is. It's that Tom Cruise movie. But it was
It's getting a sequel.
that everyone, well, I mean, like, everyone saw it back in the day. It was a big fucking movie. Everyone remembers Maverick and Ghost and all that shit. And those who don't remember it, you fucking heard of it. You know, it's like E.T. If you haven't seen it, you fucking heard about it to death. But it was advertising the fact that it was like the hot movie that was great in theaters. It's finally coming home to VHS. Yes, before DVDs, it was VHS tapes, little cassette tapes. And,
that's another thing. It's like you couldn't just buy the movies when they came out because VHSs were fucking expensive.
It's like, yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Is like it's advertising the fact that Top Gun is coming out. Now, I don't remember what year Top Gun came out. Do you?
I don't. I saw it, but
we could look it up on our phones. I can't be asked to right now.
Lazy.
We're too lazy to do research on this thing. At least not yet.
I haven't eaten enough sandwiches today.
And so, like, I don't know when it came out, but I'm assuming it was like 80s. Yeah. I'm assuming it wasn't like the early 90s, because like when I think Top Gun,
I want to say mid 80s because I saw it in theater with my parents.
Yeah, but so let's say mid 80s. So if it came out on VHS, it was about a year and a half later. And so it was advertising. It was just coming out on VHS for the low bargain price of $34.99. Now, if this was mid 80s, let's be conservative. Let's say it's 87. $34.99 was a lot of fucking money back in 87.
Yeah, that'd be like paying easily, $60 for a movie new nowadays.
Is like to put this in perspective. Go to your Walmart, go to your Best Buy, fucking go anywhere that sells DVDs because they fucking sell DVDs at HEB and shit now too. But like everyone's got a fucking Walmart. Go to your Walmart, look at the DVD section. Look at the most expensive fucking DVDs they have out there. The shit that just came out. Like right about now, the new stuff would be like Black Panther, Star Wars, The Last Jedi, shit like that. And look at how expensive it is. I think Star Wars The Last Jedi right now is like for Blu-ray, with all the bells and whistles, it's like, I think maybe $34.99. Maybe. It may be more like $29.99.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, but like the most expensive I've seen a movie come out for is like $35, and that's usually for both a DVD copy, a Blu-ray copy,
and a digital download.
And a code for your digital download. Plus all the bells and whistles, special features, commentary, shit like that.
It's like, it may be the same price, but that's not adjusted for inflation. Like, if we're adjusting for inflation, this shit should be like $60 compared to what they were charging for VHSs. That's a lot of fucking money.
And VHSs didn't have shit except the movie. If you care about those deleted scenes, the commentary, fuck you. VHS did not have that.
It's like, get wrecked, son. You get what you get and you're happy.
If you wanted deleted scenes, you had to buy like bootleg copies, or like you had to get what's called pre-cert, which is where before they actually put the ratings on it. Nowadays they call them unrated films, but back then getting a hold of one of those was really tough.
It was like you had to know someone who got this shit from like the distributor or from like the movie producer themselves.
Yeah.
Like it was a bootleg copy of a copy that was sent to the fucking ratings board before like it got sent to the ratings or even like one of the original like cuts of the film that was like sent to like test audiences before they get sent back, and they like film extra scenes or like edit out things like the movie's too long,
Yeah.
or test audiences didn't like this bit, change the end, shit like that. This shit was beyond rare. In fact, a lot of it didn't even make it to VHS. A lot of it was still like on film.
Yeah.
Just to show you how fucking rare this shit was. So like, yeah, at most, with a VHS, you got trailers for new movies coming out.
Yeah. Now, my mom, she actually managed to get a pre-cert copy of The Exorcist. So like, you know,
Fucking wow.
yeah. So like, you know that when they were making a big deal about the re-release of Exorcist with all the scenes you hadn't seen before and stuff like that, there's still shit missing from that movie.
Yeah, there always is. Like, believe it or not, like whenever it says unrated, that's bullshit. It's like I've never seen an unrated version of anything that truly had everything in it.
Yeah. No, there's actually some more sick shit going on in that movie that they haven't released yet.
Well, I mean, like that movie was pretty graphic when it came out. Like literally, you see like the girl, which I don't know how old she was supposed to be. She wasn't very old.
They had two actresses. They had one that was a little girl and one that was like.
But how old is she supposed to be, like in the movie, like canon?
I want to say like probably around 12 to 13, maybe.
Yeah, so let's just say conservative 13. 13-year-old girl masturbating with a fucking crucifix while screaming,
"Fuck you, Jesus."
"Fuck me, Jesus," to the point where she's bleeding. Put that in a fucking movie nowadays. That's going to turn some fucking heads. Because you're literally watching a minor masturbate with a religious object. That, back in like 75, that was when it came out? Like 75?
I'm not sure.
Because the third movie came out in 1990 and it said it was 15 years ago today. So yeah, it would have been 75. So like, yeah, that was pretty fucking extreme. It's like everything about like, oh, it scared me. Is like that would have, I don't know about scare, but that would have fucked with people really bad back in those days.
Yeah, I never found Exorcist scary, but
graphic for the time.
It is definitely graphic for the time. I always hate when they talk about scariest movie list and they put The Exorcist on there. To me, it's not scary. It's more like shocking than anything else.
But
I think there's a big difference between the two.
Well, that's something to talk about for another video.
Yeah.
Well, let's see, but yeah, definitely miss rental stores, man. It's like going back to KB. It's like now we have to say that like it's not just KB, but toy stores in general have now gone away with it.
Toys R Us is biting the dust.
Yeah, Toys R Us has gone down. Now you just told me right before we started recording that there may be an Australian company buying them out.
I'm not positive on this. I remember reading somewhere that this Australian company's like gonna try to buy them out, and I don't know how much of a revival that would cause.
Well, obviously they're not going to be reopening all the stores that are closing down,
right,
or that have closed down. At the point of recording, I don't even know if the one we have here locally is even still open.
Yeah, I haven't checked there myself.
It's like I went there and it looked like half of the shit was gone, but like the going out of business sale shit they had was like pretty bullshit because it was like, you know, save 10%. Save 5%. It's like, this isn't going out of business sale. This is a fuck you sale. It's like, fuck you. You thought you get a deal. Fuck you. 10% off. Like 10% off, like on a car. That's a big deal because you're saving like a couple of $1,000s. 10% off of like something that's 40 bucks.
An action figure that's like $1 or $2.
Yeah, it's like that's not that big of a savings. If you're going out of business, I want to see like 80 to 90% off. I want to see you put an effort into getting rid of this shit.
Yeah, you do a store-wide 50% off, and then the shit that you know you're going to have trouble getting rid of, you do like 80, 90%. You know, obviously Legos are going to sell fast, so you only do those at half. But, you know, you're going out of business, you just want that shit out of your shelves.
But like, no, it's like, man, like almost like the biggest discounts I saw were like 25% off when I went there. And this was like a week after they announced that they were closing the place down.
Wow,
I'm like, yeah, weak ass sales, but not just to shit on them for the fact that they were like, yeah, you're going out of business. Your collar's going out of business, you cheap fucks.
You don't look desperate enough.
Fucking get on the ground and beg me to take this shit off your hands, fucker. It's like, as heartless as I am, I do have a lot of fond memories of, like, Toys R Us. It's like, back in the day, going to Toys R Us as a kid was a fucking event.
Yeah. Oh, I always loved going there as a kid. Just like going through the action figure section. I remember as a kid, those aisles just seemed like 20 feet tall, and like you could just drown in a wave of figures if you tilted the thing over. I've always been a big fan of action figures, and Toys R Us always had some of the best sections, just wall-to-wall toys, be it, He-Man or Ninja Turtles, whatever was popular at the time. I remember just going through hundreds of figures trying to find the perfect one. And, yeah, it's a shame to see it go.
Now, for me,
nowadays, it being a niche business like that, it's kind of hard to survive. With competing online or just Walmart.
the problem I have with Walmart is that the toy section's way too small.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a lot out of there. You're not going to find...
Well, like, to the average parent, though, that's just going to buy their kids toys, they don't really care, if their kids get, like, the best toy.
Well, I mean, like, well, that's the thing, like, parents don't want to go to Toys R Us because if you're taking your kid to Toys R Us and you're walking out of there without having bought something, your kid's going to make a major shitstorm.
Yeah.
You're going to have to drag them out of there kicking and screaming. You're not going to Toys R Us unless you're going in there with, like, I'm going to buy something for my shrieking kid.
Yeah.
It's like Walmart and shit like that. That's like, you're shopping and your kid begs you to go to the toy section so you can buy something, which means you don't really have a choice unless, like, you're willing to, like, really hold tight, and then your kid's going to cry. And that's why I can't fucking go to a Walmart. Doesn't matter if it's like 5 in the afternoon or 5 in the morning. There's always a kid crying at Walmart. There's always a fucking kid shrieking his little fucking head off at a Walmart. Doesn't matter what fucking time it is. Jesus Christ. I got so sick of that. But it can't be helped. Because, like, if you're, like I said, if you're a parent, if you got to take your kid to Walmart, you got to go grocery. You can be going there because you need toilet paper and nothing else. The kid's going to want to go to the toy section. And that's how Walmart sells toys. They fuck you. It's the same reason they put candy and shit at, like, the checkout aisle, because they know that you can't leave the fucking store without passing the checkout aisle. And if you got a kid, the kid's going to be like, I want candy. And, like, you have to hit them. It's like you're going out with either with, like, a kid that's juicing up on sugar, or you're going out with a kid that's crying. Either because they didn't get what they want, or you smack them because they started crying in the store. It's like one or the other. And if you didn't smack them, then you're not a good parent. Well, that's like, the good parent argument. Some people argue that, like, if you don't hit your kid every once in a while, you're not a good parent. I don't have kids, and I will leave it at that. So I don't have to make that decision. You do. Well, not you, Fats, but I mean, like, you, the listener who has a kid. If any of you have kids. I don't know what kind of fucking demographic we're going to have listening to this.
Oh.
If we get, like, the PewDiePie demographic, like the 7 to, like, 13-year-olds, that'd be fucked up.
We don't get hit enough. Our parents suck.
Oh, that would be hilarious. Thank you, Fats. That's going to be the highlight of this fucking recording.
Bobby Fat Acres say you're a terrible parent. You don't give us Christian beatings.
And remember, you don't have to be Christian to give your kid a good Christian beating.
Absolutely not.
That goes with any and all religions. You can fucking give your kid a good Christian beating even if you're atheist.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have to believe in God to put the fear of God in your children.
Good orderly directions.
It's like, I read the Bible not because I believe in it, because like it teaches me how to wail on my kids.
It's nice and heavy.
It's supposed to teach you how, not be the implement of doing so. You wear out the good book that way, man. Well, it might explain why some of them are like in those really fucking heavy leather covers, too. Because they know what you're going to do with it. They know you're not just going to use it as a reading implement, you're going to use it for blunt force trauma. How did we get to this point?
Here's a child abusing too many donuts.
And with that, I think we should stop here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll save more talk for the next one. All right, all you guys and gals, if anyone's actually listening to this, thank you for listening to this. Like, comment, subscribe in whatever form you can, and wherever this happens to be when I finally get around to putting it up online. But in the meantime, those of you who are, you stay fat and you stay angry, and we'll catch you next time.